Life pro tip: when handling firearms, always assume there is a bullet in the chamber. Even if the gun leaves your sight for a second, next time you pick it up, just assume a bullet magically got into the chamber.
I always show the empty breech and lack of magazine before I hand a gun to anyone. And I always insist on seeing that the breech is empty and no magazine is attached before I'll take a gun from anyone. This was drilled into me again and again and again as a soldier. Edit. Added magazine to comment. The best thing about following the laws of firearms safety is that they overlap. If you're making sure to follow them and somehow slip up on one, you will generally still be okay. You also will not make that mistake again. The 4 rules of gun safety. Always assume every gun is loaded. Keep your finger well off of the trigger until you intend to fire. Never point the weapon at anything you don't want to destroy. Always know your target and what is beyond it. You almost always have to break at least 2 of these to hurt someone unintentionally. Edit. These are the famous 4 rules of gun safety popularized by Col. Jeff Cooper. Also of interest from him on the personal defense side of things is the color code of mental awareness, which might be worth looking up for those interested. A literal *life pro tip.
Life pro tip: if ever you need a program you want for free, for example a video, photo editor, don't search for free. Search for open source to avoid limited trial versions, adverts and malware.
I usually add Reddit to searches. Bing's made a great discussion and recommendations, along usually with free and paid tools. Googling open source Factorio. Are you sure you want to go down the open source rabbit hole? They say once you go in, you never come out. You'll hate Microsoft and iTunes and your friends won't understand that you don't Photoshop those. File. If you want a free image editor but hate GIMP, try turning on single window mode and you might not hate it without all those windows everywhere.
Life pro tip: be skeptical of products that say clinically proven. That is a marketing term and only says they've done their own private study that is designed to show the results the company wants. It is not the same as a scientifically proven study which is published and open for peer review.
9 out of 10 dentists recommend Colgate. Fucking clinically proven. Clinically proven. 5 pages down the list of may also cause death. I work for a company that does this, but the results are still published in science journals. Who else is going to invest in testing someone else's product? Be skeptical of products that say proven at all. Whether that is clinically proven or scientifically proven. Scientifically proven doesn't really mean much. As a side note, I really love when I hear the term clinically studied in an advertisement to give the product credibility. Like, okay, you studied it? I trust you now.
Life pro tip: save your resume as a PDF before sending it out. This guarantees the layout, structure, typography to be 100% consistent for all viewers, and no one will have issues opening it.
And make sure it's not named something generic like resume. Have your last name in it at least. Be sure the fonts are embedded in your PDF. Otherwise, font will be substituted if the recipient doesn't have the font you're using. I found this out by sending my Bluebeam PDFs to the reprographics house for prints and they came back with some other font. Turned out that Bluebeam default is to allow font substitution. I guess to keep file size down. LPT number 2, when converting a .doc or docx file to a PDF. Double check it is still formatted properly, line by line, before sending it. The conversion can rarely muck things up pretty badly. If it's a large company, I'll often send them the docx and .pdf. They can put the docx into their HRIS system for searching.
Life pro tip: never tell a coworker anything you wouldn't want your manager to hear, no matter how much you trust them.
Or you plant the information you need to be distributed to aid in your efforts of office domination. I literally just quit a job after 6 months because I made the mistake of confiding in a coworker about how much I disliked our new manager. This coworker shared everything with the manager, who then proceeded to make my life a living hell. Lesson learned. I feel stupid, however. Tell them fake shit that when they snitch you can prove is false. My dad lost his job because of this. He made a joke about how his boss would go to Africa for charity, but refused them to pay them Christmas money. His coworker laughed and then snitched him.
Life pro tip: if a child tells you they are uncomfortable around an adult, please listen.
Also very important, if you ever suspect that a child has been abused, do not ask leading or specific questions. You will spoil them as a witness. Never ask specifics. Did X touch you on your Y? Just keep them comfortable, and keep asking open questions. They have to volunteer all the information. Tell me more? Then what happened? Is your mantra. Teach your kids penis and vagina don't make up weird terms for their privates. Also teach your kids that it is not okay for an adult who isn't mom or dad to keep secrets with little kids. Make it hard for creeps in your kids' lives to take advantage of them. You can't segregate yourself and family from all the perverts in the world, it's just not realistic. You can, however, prepare them to deal with them. Yes, please. I used to beg my mom not to leave me at my uncle's house, and she always chalked it up to me acting out 'cause her and my dad just got divorced and she was dating someone new. Meanwhile, he was grooming and sexually abusing me. When it came out that that's what was going on, everyone was asking, "Why didn't you say something?" Quote, "This is why I'll never force my future children to touch, hug, or kiss anyone, regardless of if they're family or not. My niece is almost 2 and very shy, and it upsets me to no end when adults in our family pick her up even when she clearly doesn't want to be held. I always show her my pickup arms to see if I can hold her, but she shakes her head and goes to her mom, etc. And I just accept that. Kids are smarter than adults think."
Life pro tip: peel off the painter's tape when you are done painting and the paint is still wet. If you wait for it to dry, the clean lines will be ruined.
I'd say remove when tacky, not wet, as it can run. If you happen to leave it dry all the way because you're busy or whatever, a razor blade slid along the line of the tape with light pressure will also save you a ton of grief. An artist brush touch-ups. So the pieces around my window from 6 years ago might be a bit tricky. Hopefully the whole house paint job doesn't unravel like a knit sweater. I've always been too impatient to wait for it to dry anyway. I want to see the results. Had no idea I was applying best practices.
Life pro tip: when buying a blanket, always buy at least one size larger than your bed. It's at least 100 times more comfy.
And if you have a king bed, you get a dictator blanket. So on, so forth ad infinitum. I don't think anyone has ever said the phrase, "This blanket is too big." My wife bought a king-sized blanket even though we have a queen-sized bed. I of course made fun of her for being greedy, in that I made the mistake of introducing her to the finer things of life. After one night of using that massive blanket, I'm convinced it's the best fucking blanket ever made. The So and I sleep Nordic. Same bed, each with our own comforter. I tend to sleep like a recoiling paper towel roll and will steal all blankets during the night. Otherwise.
Life pro tip: freeze a block of cheese for 30 minutes before shredding it. It will shred quicker, smoother, and won't chunk up on the shredder.
You assume I plan my life more than 60 seconds at a time. But first cut off how much you need. It will freeze faster than the whole block. My girlfriend that mainly eats cheese to survive will thank you. That's a next fucking level life pro tip right there.
Life pro tip: if you're someone that always listens to music in your car, make it a habit at least once a month to turn it off and listen to your car for a couple minutes. There may be an issue you're not aware of which could be caught before it turns into a major problem.
I turned the radio up to avoid hearing the noises my car made. Brake pads are starting to go again. Let's just turn this up from an 18 to a 24. Hey, turning up the radio is how I fix my car problems. I'm consistently amazed by number of vehicles I see with body panels dragging and scraping, making tons of noise, with the driver seemingly oblivious.